Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to your sixth episode of Chakrachatter. So, thank you so much for being here. And before we start for the sixth episode, I would just like to inform everyone that for the past episodes, it's there are challenges along the way, like the internet connection. Sometimes, I think last week we had a problem with our with the connection from the other end. So for this afternoon, it's a different topic that we'll be tackling this afternoon. This is mostly about how to get your fitness routine or fitness tips in quarantine. And I am very honored to have an extra special guest for this afternoon. Um, it was a love at first sight for her that she stepped into the mat on that was 2004. It's a Bikram yoga class, and while she first got into the practice as a way to relax and distress with her corporate life, it evolved into a holistic discipline and a way of life. And later, this person finally took the plunge and became a certified hot absolute yoga teacher. Then after that, she tried other styles with vinyasa, with yin, and then as well as Inferno Hot Pilates. And she loves incorporating fun elements into her classes. And occasionally her humor shines through, but always with an eye towards building a strong foundation and practice. So, without so much lengthy introduction, I would like to welcome to Tracker Chatter a good friend of mine, teacher Jennifer Non. So, hello, teacher Jen. Hi.
Hey, Steven. Steven, hey, everyone.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon and happy weekend. Yeah.
Kumusta? Kumusta? How's everything in Manila?
We're good naman. Things are, slowly opening up. They're allowing more businesses to open, allowing more people to go out. Like, there was just an announcement, right? Na 15 to 65 can already go out.
Oh,
I
that's
think,
good.
yeah, because I think before, like, if you're below 21, I think by on
Mm-mm.
parang you can't go out.
Oo,
So yeah,
hindi siya pwede.
yeah. So they're slowly opening up. But hopefully, naman with this, people still would hopefully remain cautious because it's still
Mm-mm.
out there. So travel wisely, go out wisely. Kumbaga. I mean, don't forget that we still have to be cautious and careful. But yeah, thankfully things seem to be things seem to be, much better than say no March, April, ganyan. How is it
Oh,
naman in CDO?
Okay naman sa CDO. Parang, as I think pre-show, di ba nabanggit ko na supposed to be, we were expecting that everything will be very fine, but suddenly there were local transmissions happen. So right now, medyo strict with, of course, with what to do, and there are some areas here na naka-lockdown. So we're really hoping that these things will really subside and makontain na siya
Yeah,
para, paunti-unti. We can read, because I think most of the people are adapting na eh. Parang we, like ako or tayo, we adapt na to the changes that's happening. So
yeah,
we are really praying, and also na it will, it will be okay. Definitely, kahit paunti-unti. Diba? Ganun
yeah,
na lang.
yeah. Oo. Parang I think naman at the end of the day, but they talk about that like herd immunity kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
at the end of the day, we're heading towards there din naman. More people have become exposed to it, so starting to build immunity to it. So hopefully we get to that point where yeah, we get into that herd immunity part, and or hopefully there's a vaccine so talagang, it's got that's the more ideal situation, I think.
Oo nga, no. Sige, sige lang. We'll just wait for what's happening. I'm sure madami nang ginagawa na, it's really good for everyone. So, thank you so much for being here with our
Yeah,
Chakra
thanks for
Chatter.
coming.
Yeah. Oo nga, no. Parang, ano lang din, parang this is a very good mental health break for everyone. Like, okay, nakaano tayo, ganun lang siya. And
Parang 30-minute break it.
correct. Then, okay, bago tayo proceed with our topic on fitness and what have you done to the quarantine, I just want to know, um, I've shared, na-share ko na yung parang short background mo with yoga and how your yoga journey started. So, I just want to know deeper if meron pa ako hindi alam about your yoga journey, and then i-connect natin siya sa parang how did you handle your yoga practice during the pandemic. So, go teacher Jen.
Okay, I'm not sure if there was anything there that hasn't been covered. But I mean, honestly, I was never very active growing up. I tried a couple of different things when I was a kid. Like my parents enrolled me in swim lessons, but more of because they wanted me to know how to swim as a skill, as a survival skill. And then I did tennis for a while. Um, but kasi sports, even though my parents were the one who enrolled me in it, my parents also weren't very sports minded. Kumbaga, um, kasi parang they're, lalo na my mom, when I was younger, it's always like, um, it's not very girly, it's not feminine, it like yung sa tennis, oh, you might develop muscles, it's not girly. Or swimming, and it's mostly outdoors. Even tennis, umiitim ka na anak, ganyan. So it was kind of weird because they would enroll me in a couple of different things, but then at the same time, it was also parang, sige, do it, but not so much. Kasi babae ka eh. Iitim ka, lalaki muscles mo, hindi ka na feminine, hindi na maganda. And so I guess it was a push and pull of it that also drove me na parang, yun, nakakatamad. I don't really, why would I make the effort? Kumbaga, kung ganun din lang naman na you're going to discourage me. I mean, okay, I love my parents, and they've given me opportunities. I'm just telling the truth as it is. That was me growing up. Na they encourage me to try things, but then at the same time, it's like, wait lang ha, kasi umiitim ka na eh. Maybe you should stop muna ng contest sa tennis kasi umiitim ka na. And so I never really got into like an actual habit of any sport na I did for a long time. Um, and so it got to the point when I got a little older in my high school, college years, na talagang hindi na ako masyado active. It was, and then I got into reading books also. So parang I wanted to spend my time, my free time, just sitting somewhere and reading books. Like literally, I can finish a book in one sitting, more than a book in one sitting, depending on how thick it is.
Hoy, talaga. Ang
Kasi super couch potato ako before, when I was especially in my high school and college years. Like the only reason I would move was because I had PE and it's required. And I'm grade conscious na I cannot fail, so kailangan sige make a little bit of an effort. But beyond that, no. I would rather just sit somewhere and read my book. And so yoga was my entry into being active, actually. Um, and I guess I stuck to it for a long time, since that for a long time from that first class, because partly I was good at it. Well, better. I'm not to say I'm like a guru, but I was better at it as a beginner than most beginners were, because I'm pretty flexible. Um, and I think that's one thing that you don't know, that some people might not know. Apparently, I'm flexible because I have hyper flexibility. I have what some people call double jointedness, but the more
yeah,
scientific
yeah, yeah.
is hypermobility. Um, but little did I know na I was actually making my condition worse by doing yoga.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, go.
Well, I mean, you can still do yoga as a hyper flexible person, as a hyper mobile person, but the way kasi yoga is taught in most classes, in most general classes, it focuses or it emphasizes flexibility eh. Kasi the majority of the population are the opposite of me. They are tight. So they need to loosen up. So most of the classes are like that. And then, yun nga, because I was flexible, I could do all the poses. It was so easy for me, lalo na yung mga back bend, mga ganyan. Um, so for me, I can still do yoga, but I had to learn. I had to undo a lot of my parang wrong habits, bad habits na I'm relying more on the joint than on the actual muscles. I have to learn to strengthen the muscles around the joints, mga ganyan. So my kind of yoga now, my personal practice anyway, is less on flexibility and more on strength. So I do more of, it's hard, as in I super sweat a lot, but that's what my body needs. So I do more down dog, plank, forearm plank, side plank. I do drills. Um,
Oo,
yeah,
nakikita ko
drill.
nga yan.
So I do a lot of that because that's what I need more. And eventually, I can come back naman to the flexibility part. I can keep working on the flexibility also. But at least now, I know how to keep my joint stable while I'm doing the fancy flexibility poses. So I'm not stretching myself beyond my body's range of motion, kumbaga. Um, and so I also don't injure myself. Kasi before, ang bilis ko ma-dislocate yung shoulder ko ha. And that's why for the
Oh,
longest time I was so scared to do an inversion like headstand. Kasi my shoulders felt very wobbly. As in, konting galaw mo lang, pwede siyang ma-dislocate. As in promise, there was a time I woke up, I rolled out of bed, and that already dislocated my shoulder. Ganon siya ka loose.
no, grabe talaga yung body, no? Parang ma-amaze ka.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Once you start learning more about the body, I think that's also partly why I'm kind of an anatomy geek nowadays. Kasi parang you learn a little anatomy when you do your teacher training. And then once I start learning more about my own body, na ay, ito pala yung mga issues ko, may hypermobility ako, may whatever other conditions ako. You start reading up on it eh. And then you start learning more about the body. And then you realize, na parang, oh my God, ang fascinating pala niya. Which is so weird considering how I hated science in school.
Go.
As in,
Bakit?
as I don't know, I just didn't like it. I think again part of my whole I love reading books part. My favorite subject growing up was English. So composition. I actually wanted to be a writer growing up. So my favorite subjects were literature and writing. So anything related to language. That was my favorite subject. So doon, lagi mo makikita ang taas ng grades ko. 98, 100, 99, 96. Pagdating sa math, tsaka sa science, Diyos ko, pahirapan, 80, 85, ganyan. So it's so
No?
weird considering now na I love reading about the body. I love reading about not just anatomy, but even stuff related to the brain, yung mga new neurological advances about the brain,
Mga
how our brain works.
neurolinguistic or neuroscience, ganyan.
So parang, wow, who knew? Maybe it also, sorry again to kung sino man matatamaan, pero maybe that also says something about the educational system of the country na why did I find it boring as a kid, right? Maybe partly it was also how it was taught. I'm not saying it's fully the
Somehow,
teacher's fault,
no?
diba?
Mm.
Oo. Pero if you don't, but if it's a fascinating subject and you aren't able to make it fascinating, then there's something there. We have to consider how we're teaching it. How can we make it interesting and engaging? Um, or maybe I guess for me now I'm just appreciating it more because I can apply it in my real life. Because that's the other thing, diba, as a kid Bean said before. It's like, why do I need to learn this? Will I really need this when I'm all grown up and working? Ganyan. Parang hindi natin ma-imagine bakit eh. But now I'm seeing the advantage.
Correct. then you will just realize na okay kaya pala ganito kasi
Yeah,
oh, 'di ba? Parang magagamit ko na siya at this time, mga gano'n.
yeah.
Oh,
Parang math, actually. Math can be really hard to learn. Um, and I think kasi masyadong theoretical minsan yung pagturo sa atin ng math. So again, that's why a lot of us are like, kailangan ko ba talaga to when I grow up? Eh, hindi naman ako mag-engineer or something. But honestly, regardless of what career you're in, you need to know a little math, diba?
true. As in even the basic kasi 'di ba magagamit mo siya sa buhay mo.
Yeah. Minsan nakakahiya kasi like, I'm in the restaurant, nagsusplit kami ng bill ng friends ko. Nakakahiya na parang I'm so dependent to my phone na ika-calculator ko pa yung addition and subtraction.
No?
Diba? So,
Diyos ko, totoo, totoo.
I'm so impressed with my dad. Like, he can do mental math. And it's complex figures ha, like long strings of numbers na i-add mo lahat or isa-subtract mo
Wow, ha.
or even like a combination, plus minus times divide.
Mm.
And parang I remember when we were younger, we actually had a contest. I had a calculator. Tapos siya mental. Parang, oh sige, ito ang equation. Yeah. Nauna pa siya. Okay? Mental. Mas
No.
nauna siya. Kesa sa akin na nakakalculate.
Isa sa'yo nakakalcue pa, di ba? OMG. Nakakatuwang balikan yung mga ganyan. So anyway, I think I've heard enough now of how you started with the yoga practice and how did, so somehow na-discuss mo na din on what did you do or parang, what, kasi right now you really focus on the strength. So that means that you've been doing that for the past 6, 7 months. I just want to
Yeah.
know, ano pa yung mga ginagawa mo or if did you have any like habits or steps? Parang, yeah, take us to that. Ano ba yung ano bang ginawa mo or nadagdag na you've been doing for the past 6 months?
Well, I don't know if I'm thankful or not about having more extra time nowadays because of the pandemic.
Correct.
Parang it's a blessing but also a challenge kasi it also means I'm not earning as much.
Or totoo, tinatawanan na natin pero agree with that.
Actually, tawanan na natin yung problema natin. But yeah, I mean, it's both a blessing and a curse. Now we have a little more. At least I have a little more free time. So my workouts lately since the pandemic has been a little more intense. Siguro, I don't know if that's the right word. Kasi kung dati, pre-pandemic, usually the only regular thing I could do is like one yoga class or practice yoga every day. Now I can actually devote more time to working out, to moving, to exercising. So I mentioned nga na I work on strength. So aside from keeping up a regular practice of yoga, I also do now more strength exercise. So I work with a trainer once or twice a week who helps me with functional movements, with strength exercises. And then I also do some online videos doing either bar or Pilates or mga HIIT workouts. Kasi it's like HIIT, it's a nice blend of cardio and strength also. Kasi you do certain movements like mga mountain climbers or burpees. So and you do it in short bursts, diba? Like you do a lot of burpees in 30 seconds. Or and then you do the same cycle for like 8 rounds, 30 seconds of doing it actively and then 10-second rest and then you do it for 8 rounds. So yeah, so I've been doing, so parang my practice lately has been I do all the more active movement first. So I do the bar or Pilates or the strength training session with a coach or the HIIT workouts, ganyan. I do all of that first, and then I do the yoga practice after. Kasi that's kind of like my cool down na rin. Kasi I mean, yes, there's still it's still challenging because I do a lot of strength exercises also in yoga. But then kasi you can incorporate na more of the mobility and the flexibility work in the practice also. So it's and then the pace kasi I can slow it down to the kind of pace that I want. So yoga is always last for me. And then minsan, lalo na if I have a hard time sleeping at night, then I might do a quick session again, kahit sa kama lang. And it's more of like the yoga poses for sleep, diba? Kumbaga, yung poses that can help to help you unwind and bring about sleep. Medyo yin style or restorative style rather than an ashtanga or vinyasa practice. So that's really my fitness routine, kumbaga, since the pandemic started. I also alternate it. So parang say for example, MWF, it can be like more just cardio based. So I'm like one of those other people, most people who bought mga exercise stuff when the pandemic.
Uy, totoo yan. Ang dami ako na nung kilala. Talaga,
Nabiktima ako ng
nag-set
mga
up.
Facebook ads. So napabili ako ng exercise bike. Kasi lalo na during the first month, diba, we couldn't really leave the house kahit na mag-exercise, bawal. And I tried for a while just walking 10,000 steps inside my house. Nahilo ako, friend. As in,
Seryoso? 10,000 na? Hindi ko
my target daily is like 8 to 10,000. So I was
Correct.
trying to do that at home. As in, sa loob lang ng bahay, ikot-ikot sa kwarto, sa kitchen. Nahilo ako sobra.
Totoo yan. Diyos
So
ko, ako hindi ko rin kaya. Paikot-ikot lang.
Diba? And you feel like a hamster, sobra. So I got hit by mga Facebook ads, and then there was a cheap exercise bike, and it was like a few thousand pesos, which for me seemed like a good investment at the time. So yon, so I got it, and then kasi parang it's one of those exercise bikes where it comes with a built-in table. So pwede pa yung monster exercise na wala kang table na you're just cycling. And then, kung gusto mong medyo mas relax or whatever, you can put the table, have your laptop there or your iPad, ganyan. So parang habang nagbabike-bike ka, nanonood ka ng Netflix o kaya nagtatrabaho ka. So I was like, oh, perfect. So that kind of became my thing also. So parang yung Netflix time ko minsan, ginagawa ko rin exercise time na, okay, one episode of Supergirl and then I'm on the bike also. And it doesn't have to be like the beast mode, my heart pounding kind of bike ride. But at least parang your body's moving, you're bringing your heart rate up. Kesa yung nakaupo ka lang sa couch tas nanonood. So I feel a little healthier.
No, iba din ha. Kasi totoo yan. Madami niyang iba-ibang pinagagawa yung mga tao. And that's also good na, parang you go deeper into the practice. And yun, nagulat ako dun sa naka-schedule MWF, ganito. Why not?
Yeah, may ganun ako. Parang MWF, more of cardio, TTHS, more of, okay, strength training, weights, blah, blah, blah. Kasi you want it to be holistic naman. Kasi minsan, if you're just gonna go with, ano feel ko today? Siyempre lagi kong feel yung madali sa katawan ko, di ba?
Correct. Diba? Bakit?
Kung pwedeng mag-cheat tayo. So,
Oo.
you have to also challenge yourself. And that's one way for me to force and challenge myself na, no, talagang ito siya, kailangan ganyan. Kailangan talaga eh. Kasi I know myself. I will cheat.
Exactly. And then ano din yan, that's also good that, parang you've been doing that routine. So naging habit na siya eventually. So my question, yung next question ko to you is, how do you stay motivated on that routine? Dun sa ginagawa mo? Ano yung mga motivations mo or yeah.
Um, well, after a while, if you've been doing it nga for a while and you build the habit, diba, you'll start to notice naman how you'll feel differently. Like for me, I feel na okay, I have more energy, I sleep better, and then eventually you'll also start to notice, uy, parang gumaganda yung fit ng damit ko. Or you step on a scale and you're like, oh, I lost 2 pounds, ganyan. So that can be a great way to motivate you also kasi you feel better. So pag tinatamad ka, parang you're just like, no, but think of how great you'll feel after. Or kasi you see the progress na, then mas namomotivate ka to keep it going kasi you know na if you keep going, then you'll just see more and more improvement. But that's, again, a motivation pag nakikita mo yung improvement. If you feel it, if you see it, diba?
Correct, no?
So, and the
Oo, pero
problem
paano
is,
pag hindi? Di ba?
the problem is, what if you're just starting out? It's just your first day, your first week, and then syempre
Mm.
hindi pa masyado nafe-feel yung progress, and we've all been there, and I've been through that so many times. Like before having a more regular practice the last few years, diba? You I think you said in your intro of me, I've been doing yoga since 2004. But more
Correct.
accurately, like if you count it in actual number of months and convert it to years,
Mm.
it's not ilang months, ilang years ba yun kung 2020 minus 2000? It's not 16 years. Kasi it was on and off. Like I'll go to yoga, I'll practice yoga regularly, and then I'll stop, and I'll stop for
Mm.
several months, and then I'll go back to it. Ganyan. And it was only the last few years where it was a little bit more regular. So honestly, I've been through that. Yung parang so many times na I have to motivate myself to get
Oo.
so for me, and maybe it will help others also. For me, some things that always help is number one, you have an accountability partner or you have an exercise buddy, diba? So like for me, that helps sometimes na you make plans. Oh, lika, let's go to this class tomorrow. So parang nag-commit ka na. So mas nahihiya ka nang mag-cancel. Kasi it's not just you eh. You have a
Tama,
friend
tama. Di
that's
ba?
going with you.
Oo.
Mahihiya ka magsabi, uy, friend, sorry, cancel na lang.
Oo.
So it's always good to have that exercise buddy or accountability partner. Like one of my friends is was my accountability partner before the COVID pandemic hit.
Mm.
So for the last like year or more, we were the ones going to yoga classes together. Um, so parang nagte-text kami every day niyan or the day before, ganyan, parang, oh, punta ba tayo sa ganitong class, ganitong time, blah, blah, blah. And then, if one of us is tinatamad, the other one is like the cheerleader na, no, come on, punta ka na. Or think of how good you'll feel. Think of how well your clothes will fit. May mga ganong-ganong etches kami sa isa't isa. And that really helped, yung having that partner. And then, the other thing for me is, um, if I'm feeling tamad on a particular day, I just tell myself, okay, you don't have to do a full 60-minute yoga class or yoga or Pilates video. Just do something for 5 or 10 minutes. So minsan like I'll go on Allo Moves or YouTube or whatever, and then I'll just search for a short video. Minsan restorative pa nga or yung something
Correct,
very
correct.
low impact. I'll search for
Mm.
something like that. And then I'll do it for, and then yun, so parang 5 or 10 minutes long lang siya, and then it's not even very active or vigorous. And sometimes that just feels good. Na, o sige, 10 minutes, tapos na yung video, okay, I'm good. Ayoko na talagang gumalaw. So, sige, at least I gave myself that 5 to 10 minutes. Nakagalaw pa rin yung katawan ko kahit papano versus not doing anything at all. But then, more often than not, I promise you, once you start moving, you get more energy eh. So, biglang,
Correct.
biglang yung 5 or 10 minutes na sinabi mong gagalaw ka, magiging
Umabot ng
15
isang
minutes na rin.
oras.
Oo,
Oo,
di
totoo
ba?
yan.
Kasi you find your wind you get energized from the movement. So, yon parang I just promised myself, o sige, 5 minutes, kahit 5 minutes lang. And then kung I don't feel good pa rin after 5 minutes, o sige, di pahinga. It's really not my day-to-day. But otherwise, if you feel better, then keep going. And that's how I approached, kasi I don't know if you know this, hindi siya nalagay sa intro. When I was younger, I also ran. So I was doing marathons also.
Oh, yeah. Okay, okay.
So I started when I was in Singapore actually because I did my masters in Singapore and student budget. So I couldn't afford fancy gym memberships or studio memberships.
Mhm.
Um, so running was a good way to stay fit na mura. Kasi all you need is to buy a pair of shoes and some clothes, and then you just run outdoors. So that's what I was doing. So I did that for 2 years when I was in Singapore, and then when I came home, still kept running. Um, and especially nung beginning na I was running, it was so hard for me to keep going kahit 3 kilometers lang yan. Um, so that was also the way I approached it na I will be looking at my training watch. O sige, give yourself 5 minutes. And then, pag lumampas yung 5 minutes, o sige, another 5 minutes. So, I'll run for another 5 minutes. So, para I keep giving myself increments rather than looking at my watch and saying, o sige, you're doing
Tama.
10 kilometers today or you're running for 20
Mm.
minutes today. It's hard Parang napaka-laki ng goal minsan when you think of it. So, parang what I used to do was to break it down na, okay, I'll start off with 5 minutes or I'll start off with 1 kilometer. And then if I still feel good, then I'll just keep going for another kilometer, then another kilometer, then another kilometer. And then before you know it, nakatapos ka na ng 10K. Parang
Di ba? Paulit-ulit. Actually, tama yung gano'n, na incremental lang. Yung, di ba, until sa makuha mo siya. Sakto
yeah.
yun.
Oo. I
Mm.
think that's the problem with a lot of us. I mean, and I was also guilty of that as a child. Yung parang masyado tayong ambitious minsan. Na parang, oh sige, mag-exercise ako, stay fit, chufa chuchu. I'll do it 5 times a week. I'll do something, ganyan, ganyan. Ang dami nating mga lofty goals. And then, because we're not fit, it feels difficult. And then we just give up. So, parang it's better if you just give yourself a tiny goal. And then once
Oo,
you're
tama.
there, give yourself
Mm.
another tiny goal. Kasi it's more manageable. And uh, same with the corporate world din naman. Kasi I've also been in the corporate world. It's the same thing naman, diba? You have a strategy. Oh, this is where we want to be in 5 years. We want to be number one. But you break it down din naman. How do we get to number one? O sige, for 6 months, this is what we're gonna do. Next 6 months, this is what we're gonna do. Until you get there. Hindi na, parang even if you have that big goal, hindi naman yun lang at yun lang yung goal mo eh. It's like, we have this big goal, but to get there, we have this. So, ganun din siya,
Correct.
even with fitness. Yeah.
Correct. Ika nga, baby steps, di ba? So, wag i-ano lahat, i-full blast.
Oh, yeah. Oo. So,
Kasi,
yun.
oo, lalo na ngayon. And usually right now din, parang I agree to all those points that you've shared. Kasi somehow, ano na yun eh, parang those are physical activities that, di ba, na pwedeng gawin during this pandemic. And
Mhm.
right now, okay na yatang tumakbo, di ba? So, I think
Yeah.
running is, yeah,
You
oo.
can run outdoors, or if you have a
Mhm.
treadmill, then you can run indoors. And then parang I mean, okay, I admitted in the beginning that, oh, I bought a bike and whatever, but but that's me kasi I already have a routine. I already exercise, so I don't feel as bad paying for more equipment kasi I know naman at the end of the day magagamit at magagamit siya. But if you're just starting out in anything right now, parang I tell my friends, whoever na, why don't invest muna in equipment kasi baka sayang lang. Kasi, um, again, yung masyado tayong ambisyosa na, oh, I'll buy dumbbells, I'll buy resistance bands, I'll buy a treadmill, ganyan. And then more often than not, they don't get into the habit or tinamad sila or something. So after 2 weeks, biglang naging sampayan na lang yung treadmill. Yung dumbbell,
Correct.
diba? Yung dumbbell,
Tama.
gathers dust. So sayang lang yung bayad mo. So for me, I always tell them there's a lot of exercises you can do that doesn't require equipment. Um, there's Google out there. You can search for exercises that you can do, and it just requires your body weight. I mean, hello, plank, push up, sit up. There's a lot, and yung mga hit workouts. A lot of them just require your body and maybe like
Correct. Hindi na kailangan ng equipment. True.
so parang I always tell them, if you want to get started, why not try something na ganon? And then once you get more into it, then that's the time you start looking at buying your equipment. And at least you kind of have a fitness routine going. Medyo alam mo, mas sure na magagamit mo yung equipment. Kasi otherwise, wala. It just takes up space in your house. It gathers dust. And then before you know it, it's like 2 years old and you only used it 5 times.
No, totoo yan. Very true yan sa mga Pinoy. Na parang we keep on hoarding
Oo.
stuff. And then,
Yeah.
di ba?
Parang,
Tapos ano din, eto.
yeah,
Go,
no,
go, go.
no. Yeah, parang I don't know what it is that makes us buy all these things. Is it because of marketing that we're just being told by big consumer groups and big consumer marketing companies na parang, for you to be fit, you need this treadmill. There's no other way for you to do your cardio. Something. I don't know. Diba? Parang namamarket tayo. We buy into the hype. When really, you don't 100% need it.
No, parang kung ano, tapos pag nakita mo, oh my God, ano yung ginagawa nito for the past years, andyan lang. Well, totoo yan. Agree to those statements na dapat maging ano tayo din eh, parang mindful din tayo with that. Kasi 'di ba, kung ito lang yung kailangan mo, this is ito lang. Then meron naman and also I agree that there are so many things that you can do at home.
Mhm.
Of course, Mr. Reba, right now we need to make sure that we are safe. We are na safety tayo, 'di ba? Kasi nga the cases
Sorry.
are, oh my God.
Yeah, sorry. Going back to lang yung sinabi mo,
Oh,
we can do so many things at home, no? One really important thing I think that we tend to forget again, kasi parang when we think of movement, when we think of exercise, we always just think it has to be a dedicated fitness time na, okay, 30-minute block, I'm gonna go on my treadmill and run, or I'm gonna do a hit workout video or something. And it's good to do that also kasi you're really giving yourself that fixed time for yourself for fitness. And then there's also the mental part of it. You when you're doing that, kasi you also tend to focus on what you're doing and you forget about anything else you're worrying about, work or whatever. And I mean, basta maraming reasons why it's good to have that fixed that time block also for your fitness. But we also tend to forget that there are a lot of things we can do in our day-to-day lives that will improve our fitness level also. So like, eto na lang, pag nasa office ka, pag nasa mall ka, kesa na mag-elevator ka, mag-stairs ka. Lalo na if it's just 1 or 2 floors. And that's already improving your cardio, improving your health, bringing more movement to your life. And that's something simple that we tend to forget. Or like, one thing I do sometimes when I go somewhere, ang tendency ng majority ng tao, diba? When you go to a parking lot, you try to find the slot that's nearest to the door, nearest to the entrance of the mall or the office building or something. What I used to do before, I would park dun sa dulo, and then I would walk all the way. And that's extra how many steps that you can do. My brother-in-law, since the lockdown started, every time he takes the stairs, kasi yung stairs namin, sa gitna may landing, and then another set of stairs
Ah,
all the way up to the second floor.
mm.
So whenever he goes up and down the stairs, he does a few squats dun sa landing, and then sa taas at saka sa baba. So parang, so
Pwede.
dun sa bottom
Pwede.
of steps, couple of squats, walk up halfway, couple of squats, walk all the way up, a couple of squats. So that's added movement again, and then it works on your glutes,
Correct.
which is your biggest muscle in the body. Um, so parang you can think of how else. There's so many other ways that you can incorporate more movement in your life, and it's not necessarily complicated. It's just more walking, less elevator, or like, diba, I mentioned, yung exercise bike ko, my table, so I can be watching Netflix at the same time.
Correct.
And
Multitask.
multitasking. And again, you don't need that kind of exercise bike. If you're in your living room watching TV, instead of just sitting on your couch, di mag-sit up ka ng konti, mag-plank ka ng konti. Di ko naman sinasabi mag-plank ka the whole episode, di ba? Pero instead of sitting down for 60 minutes, why not 1 minute plank? O edi naka-move ka din, naka-burn ka ng konting calories. Or sometimes,
No.
actually, what I just do, I just stand. Nakatayo ako nanonood sa TV. And then my dad or my sister will be like, "Hoy, ano ginagawa mo?" Wala, I'm just standing. I don't want to sit. Because
Correct.
it's better than sitting again. You burn a little bit more standing than sitting down. Lalo na if we're watching TV after dinner and I feel so full, it's like, okay, I'm gonna stand.
Oo, para dire-diretso. Actually, maganda
Yeah.
din yung ganyan. So, I think na-mention sa mga na-mention mo, Teacher Jen, it's more about parang how to make it creative and at the same time, how to make it fun. Ganun lang,
Yeah.
'di ba?
Yeah.
Masaya yung squat tapos hagdanan.
Yeah.
Pwede, 'di ba?
Yeah, diba? Parang when he told me that, I was like, ooh, good idea. I'm gonna do that too. So, yun, parang, you just think of ways that you can incorporate these sorts of things in what you do every day. And parang in that way also, it doesn't feel like a lot. Kasi diba, ang common excuse din ng mga tao is, I don't have the time. I'm too busy. I don't have the time. Kasi again, they always think, kasi I have to exercise for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. But what if you can actually incorporate it in everything that you're doing? So yun, instead of taking the elevator, you take the stairs. Multitasking, parang watching TV, doing push-ups, mga ganyan. So, o diba, it's the same amount of hours in a day, but you get to do more. You get to do what you need to. And tama kayong, yeah, and then tama kayong, I don't think we touched, I don't think I fully touched on the fun part, no? Kasi,
Go.
parang I think some people, when they ask me, oh, what's a good workout? I think a lot of people tend to expect na I'll push yoga on them. And I mean, yes, of course, I will extol the virtues of yoga. Lalo na I'm a yoga teacher. At the end of the day, I also have to market myself and my classes.
Correct.
But again, as the saying goes, diba, different strokes for different folks. So, yoga is my thing. I love yoga. And because I enjoy it, I keep doing it. So you have to find what you enjoy and do that. So try yoga, try cycling, try running, try dancing, Zumba, try rock climbing. Parang I think that's the first step. You have to be open to try a lot of different things. Or you can also start thinking, ano ba normally ang na-enjoy ko sa buhay? What makes me happy? And then yun, parang, oh, I like to sing and I like to dance, I like music. So try to look what movement incorporates that. O edi dancing, Zumba, Latin dancing, yung mga ballroom style, whatever. And then just try everything. And honestly, like ngayon sa pandemic, ang dami kayong mga free classes or yung mga mura-mura na. Diba? So now's the perfect time to try, actually. So try everything and see what you enjoy. So what you like may be different from someone else's. So just do your own thing. And don't be afraid na mag-isa akong pupunta sa class, how lonely, ganyan. Lalo na yung before, yung 'di ba pre-pandemic na you actually go to a physical gym or
Correct,
studio.
correct.
Parang nadjajahe ka na, oy, wala akong kasama, wala akong kakilala. To be honest, you will make more friends. Like, in the years that I've been going to yoga and going to studios, I've made so many more new friends. You will keep your old friends because you have other things in common, but you will make new friends in your gym, in your studio. And for some, they actually meet their loved one.
Oo, no,
Diba?
agree yan.
Sadly, I have not found the one from the
Wala pa.
gym or anything. Pero di ba,
Baka sa
super cat, o di ba?
oo, no. Hello, Katrina.
But yeah, we have to get over that initial ano lang na parang, mag-isa ako, parang nahihiya ako or baka lonely or something. Once you're in the class, it doesn't matter. Because you're doing your own thing, your friend is gonna be doing his or her own thing either. Magkasama lang kayo yung before and after, to be honest. Diba?
True, true, true. So much agree sa mga sinabi mo, Teacher Jen. Oo nga, no, yung parang, just, try, parang do whatever that you like. Kasi di mo alam, parang after this pandemic, may new skill ka na. Di
Yeah,
ba?
diba? Like, I have a friend, she tried yoga several times and she was like, you know what, I really don't like it. It's too slow for me, whatever. And I was like, okay, I understand. I appreciate that you at least gave it your try. You took several classes and you can
Correct,
safely
correct.
tell me ayaw mo, di mo siya type. Um, and she tried a bunch of different things and now she's so serious about her weightlifting.
See? Di ba?
And
It lead to ano pala. Yun pala
yeah,
yung gusto niya talaga.
na ang laki ng improvement na parang she can bench press like her weight or something. I'm just like, what? It's crazy. So yeah, um, just find your own thing, and then like sometimes once you get into that one thing, it opens the door for you to try other things or going back to the old things that you didn't enjoy before, and then you might find a newfound appreciation for it. Kasi like for me, that's what happened na yoga became my gateway into being more active on a more consistent basis. Kasi I've tried naman before, diba, yung sinabi ko, nag-swimming ako, nag-tennis ako, ganyan. But,
Correct, correct, correct.
but yoga was my first parang regular movement practice. And then now, I enjoy swimming again. I enjoy, I never went back to tennis, but I enjoy a lot of other sports and activities nowadays. Like I'm a lot more active in general. Um, Yun lang dahil sa pandemic, marami hindi ko magawa kasi mga close pa, bawal pa, you know.
Correct, correct.
Um,
Pero it's very good, no, na parang binalikan mo sila. Those are
mhm.
the things that, very familiar and you learn to appreciate that, okay, now I understand why ganito, may mga ganyan. Ang
feeling ko din
saya.
feeling ko din kasi before there was like some of the things I tried, I didn't like it because I was so out of shape. So parang I felt so parang like a fish out of water. So parang I tried it a little bit and I was like, I suck at it. I don't want to try it again. But then through yoga and then I was a bit more consistent with it. Syempre yung fitness level mo nag-improve din, diba? And then I built a little bit more strength. Ganyan.
Agree, agree.
So,
Mm-mm.
so I come back to it and it's still challenging, but it also feels a little easier. So parang, actually, I kind of enjoy this now.
'Di ba? So, ang saya lang na nangyari yung gano'n. So,
Yeah.
anyway, Teacher Jen, before we go to the last part, imagine, di natin namalayan yung oras.
Oo nga, chika lang talaga.
Oo, like chika-chika lang, chaton talaga siya. Any last words or tips na parang in general na parang you can suggest to our viewers that what are the you know fitness routine or any fitness tips, like siguro you can give like three or kahit
Mhm.
two na parang on what they can do since the pandemic will be, or the quarantine will be a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I've kind of touched on it kanina na parang You you really don't need like a full block of hour or whatever in a day to get your exercise in, to already start to feel any benefit from exercise or movement. So um, actually, if you check yung parang is it the American Heart Society or something? Basta one of those medical societies, their recommendation um, is minimum 150 minutes of moderate exercise in a week. So 150 divided by 7 days is like, ito na naman yung sinabi kong math mahina. So,
Ano yata,
so
150
ano
divided
to,
by
more than
7.
20, diba?
Oo,
Kasi,
basta
kasi
ganyan.
7
Oo,
times
mga 20
14.
minutes. Diyos ko talagang parang nag-hold tayo. It's okay.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's like
Basta yun yung information.
so that's like what 20 minutes in a day that
No?
that you can do, and that already makes a difference to your heart health. Um, so that can be 20 minutes in a day of walking, and it doesn't have to be like a full 20 minutes na naglakad ka sa labas. It can be like
Mhm.
10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, 5 minutes, or like you break it down into smaller parts, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Mm.
So again, going back to yung sinabi ko dun, di ba, na ginagawa ko before, I break it into increments when I run, or push yourself for another kilometer, another minute, another 30 meters, ganyan. So in the same way, you make it more palatable to yourself. Um, what na parang, okay, if you need to break it up into smaller blocks of time to make up your 20, then go ahead, do that. And then find what you like to do. And parang, kasi sometimes we tend to imagine it has to be like a formal workout. Na parang, okay, I like dancing, so it has to be a Zumba class. Not even. My mom, all she does when she was still alive, all my mom would do is when she wakes up, she turns on the radio, and whatever song is playing, she just starts moving.
Oh,
Kanya-kanyang
'di ba?
kanyang
Why
move.
not?
Oo. Who cares if it's a dance move or not? You're moving. You're still exercising in that way. So, yun, notions about what exercise should be, what movement should
Mm.
because any movement is good movement. Unless
Correct,
it's
correct,
an
correct.
unsafe movement na may injure ka, ha? Generally speaking, any movement is
Oo.
better than not moving at all.
Mm.
Right? So, yun. So I think that's
OMG.
like the main tip I would leave you guys with, is that it doesn't have to be a long period of time. It can be just 20
Mhm.
minutes in a day, and then you can break it down into smaller chunks of time throughout the day if you really claim wala kang oras. Um, and then yun. So again, it doesn't have to always be push up, hit, burpee, running. It can be anything where you get your heart rate up. And when I say you get your heart rate up, it doesn't necessarily mean na yung sobrang hingal ka na hindi na
Correct, correct. Oo.
mabilis na. It
Oo.
doesn't have to be that. When they say kasi moderate aerobic activity, it just means that your heart rate goes a little higher than the resting rate. Um, and parang you feel a little warm in your body, but you're not like overheated and you're not super sweaty. Kasi that naman is another classification, which is like your vigorous activity. So if you're more of like, you have certain issues na, lalo na for the older people, may mga
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
arthritis,
Mm.
osteoporosis, slip disc, herniated
Mm.
disc, mga ganyan. So, maraming hindi na pwede sa kanila. Even just walking or any low impact is fine. And that's your 150 minutes a week of moderate exercise. And then if it's people like us who, don't really have any problems yet, can do more
Yeah.
vigorous exercise, it's not even 150 minutes a week. It's 75 minutes a week of vigorous exercise that
No,
yung minimum that they recommend. I mean, feel free to go beyond the 75, but try to
of
at least
course.
the
Mm.
75. So 75 minutes divided by 7, diba? A little more than 10 minutes lang yan. So I don't think
True.
So I don't think anyone really has the excuse of saying I don't have time. What's 10 minutes when you can watch Netflix for 60 minutes?
Correct. Agree, totoo 'yan. Tapos
Parang when
chineck
I
ko nga kanina sabi ko,
Yeah, 'di ba? Parang once you start thinking about it in that way, you'll realize na actually I do have time.
It's how to manage lang na parang 'di ba, you do this and that kasi nasa sa'yo naman talaga 'yan, eh. And then, you will see the difference and you will feel the difference that
Mhm.
it's really different. It's
Yeah.
iba.
Parang my
OMG.
favorite quote talaga is from Legally Blonde, 'di ba? But it's so true. Yung
Go.
endorphins make you happy. Happy people though. Parang paano ba yun? Parang she exercises kasi yung accused is like a trainer or something, 'di ba? So parang uh, exercise secretes endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't kill people. So parang
Tama, oo, naalala ko 'yan.
yeah, and
Oh
honestly,
my God.
Elwood was right. So, we secrete those happy hormones when we move, when we exercise. And that's why beyond the physical, you have the mental benefit because yun, it makes you happy. And across all that, if you want to go more scientific, then it can help with depression, anxiety, stress, and a lot of different things. But just think of it as Elwoods did to make it simple.
True. Oh,
And
especially
honestly,
now, 'di ba, na oo. So yun, Teacher Jen, so thank you so much for that. Hindi natin namalayan. We are actually more than 45 minutes na. Parang close to 1 hour na nga eh.
yeah.
Anyway, so before tayo pupunta dun sa Would You Rather na segment, I just like to ask or if you have anything to plug for if you have classes, where to find you. So feel free to do it now.
Thank you. Of course, I will take this time. Uh, no, but so I teach yoga every day, and you can find my schedule of classes online on my Instagram, which is what my um, username here is, which is the at Jennifer Non. You can also find it on Facebook. The name of the page is Move Well with Jen Non. So it's Jen, Jen, and then Non, Nancy Oscar Nancy. So those two, you can check it out there. Or I also have a website. It's movewellwithjennon.com. And so all of them would have my schedule and instructions on how you can book your class. Um, and what else? Well, I have something in the works, but I don't want to jinx it yet.
Okay, go.
Yeah, but so I'm not gonna give so much details yet. But I'm working on something, and I'm targeting for it to be released by end of October or early November. And it's perfect for people who've never done yoga before. So anyone who's been wanting to try yoga, but for some reason has never tried it, are intimidated by it because like you walk into an open level class and everyone's doing like super fancy scary poses, or parang,
Okay.
or parang they feel like they can't keep up with the pace. They're like, what the hell is down dog? What the hell is utkatasana? Um, so it's perfect for people who've never done yoga before who want to have that foundation. Um, but it can also benefit people who've been doing yoga for a while because it can be a good refresher for you na parang go back to basic. Kasi
Correct,
sometimes
correct.
the more that we progress in our practice, we tend to forget those
The
basics.
basics, no? Kaya nag-enjoy ako sa beginner's class. Super
Yeah,
enjoy ko siya.
yeah, diba? Kasi there's still I think kasi that's a misconception sometimes with some people in doing yoga or um, who've been doing it for a while. Parang feeling nila kasi na, okay, I've mastered na down dog, go to the next level. Honestly, no. No matter how you feel you've mastered down dog, there's still something new that you can learn in your down dog. There's something else you can refine in your down dog. So parang that again, diba, they say that's why it's called a practice because there's always something new, something different that you can learn. So yeah, so whether you're a beginner, first timer, or someone who's been doing yoga for a while, it can benefit you. But yeah, that's the only teaser I will provide. Look out for it. I'm announcing it by end October, early November. I'm finishing up all the tech stuff that I need to fix on that end. Alam mo naman, hindi naman tayo sobrang techie person, so maraming challenges.
Correct, correct, correct.
Lalo na, lalo
Ox
na
lang
sa
eh.
sikap kasi wala pang bayad.
Oo. Natawanan na natin, no? Pero yeah, sige, sige.
Yeah.
We'll wait for that announcement. And of course, feel free to invite everyone here in Chakra Yoga. Of course, send mo lang sa amin. We will
Yeah.
definitely help you out with that. All
Sure.
right. So
Thank you.
thank you so much for that, Teacher Jen. So eto na. So eto na siya. Eto na yung hindi siya
The fun
non-yoga.
part, okay.
Oo, hindi siya non-yoga. Pero ganun taga, would you rather? Sige,
Good.
ano lang naman siya, it's like, there are two questions, parang, would you rather din, merong situation, pipili ka lang ng isa. And then, whatever comes
May inspiration
first,
pa ba to?
hindi naman. Wala
Sige.
naman. And then, you can explain if you want to, pero if not, pwede din wala na. Pero
Okay.
usually, with my guests, they really explain. Kasi, di ba, parang, yung iba nga, like last time yata, tinanong nga din ako, ano yung ano, answer mo? Sinagot ko naman. Kasi last week, I was with the teachers as well. So, andito sina Teacher Poy, si Digo, and then sina Echo. So, sila yung guest ko last week. And
Mm,
then, sabi yung problem namin with internet connection kasi I think umuulan yata sa Manila. So parang
yeah,
in and out, in and out, in and out. Sabi ko, Diyos ko, Lord. Kaya
yeah.
sabi ko, oh my God, sige na, laban lang. Basta continue pa rin. The show must go on. So sige, eto
Ah,
na. So for the first question, would you rather meet your great-grandparents or meet your grandchildren?
meet my great grandparents.
Okay. Pwede kang mag-answer why.
Um, I I guess because I feel like there's a rich history there with my great grandparents that I want to know more about. Because parang that was one of my greatest regrets with my grandparents. Na
Okay.
um, I didn't take the time. Kasi when you're a kid, diba, you're impatient. Pag nagkakwento
Oo.
sila ng mga noong unang panahon, you're like, eh, kebs ko.
Oo, di ba
Um,
parang, okay.
so, I mean, I was guilty of that. And then when they passed away, I lost that chance to learn more about their lives, learn about the times that they were living in. And, diba, as they say, for you to be able to move forward, you also have to know your
Your
past or at least
roots.
learn from the
Correct.
past, ganyan, like from the
True, true,
past.
true.
So, um, parang for me, that's one thing na I've always wished I knew more about my family's history. Lalo na great grandparents pa.
Correct.
Especially kasi like on my dad's side, there's a
Mm-hmm.
broken link there somewhere na I think there was a rift somewhere. So we don't know or we don't keep in contact with certain branches. So and we don't even know parang like if we try to create a family tree it stops at a certain level di na namin matrace sino yung mga mas ancestor pa namin so I think that's why I chose my great grandparents kasi it's easy for me to think of the future but it's so hard for me to visualize the past because of yung mga nakwento ko.
Okay. Thank you. Napaka-personal. Pero totoo siya. Very ano siya. Parang, alam mo yung, yeah, ako din, kung if this will be asked sa akin,
Mm-hmm.
your, ano
Great
din,
grandparents
meet your
then.
great-grandparents. Oo. Kasi parang, ang dami kong gustong alamin.
Mm,
I
di
still
ba?
have questions. Oo, parang, ano pa talaga yung nangyari, ganito, ganito,
Yeah.
yung, of course, all
Pero
those
how
things.
was it like living in that era na ganyan, di ba?
No?
Or like, where were you when Jose Rizal was killed? I mean, something like that.
True, true, true. Okay, Teacher Jen, next question. Eto. Would you rather know all the languages of the world or speak with animals?
Speak with animals. I have 8 dogs and my God, one of them is so temperamental na talagang my sister and I have been saying na parang if only dogs could talk, I wish that particular dog could talk. Kasi minsan talaga,
No?
it's like, what the freak are you thinking? What do you want? Bakit 1 minute you're so malambing, the next minute you're growling at everyone and you're snapping and biting. It's like, yeah. So I wish my dog could talk. But then I can understand my dog.
No? Kasi iba din yung ano nila eh, iba yung language nila and for sure, you will learn a lot from
Yeah.
animals.
Tsaka
Diba?
diba,
Napaka
parang
ano.
even if we won't be able to understand completely a different
Mm,
language,
mm,
um, there's still a universal language of like body language or context.
correct.
So at the end of the day, you can kind of get by even without knowing much about another language. Pero animals, my God, it's a different thing entirely.
Totoo, super true. Okay, next question. Eto. No one shows up to your wedding or no one
Boy,
shows up to your funeral.
no one shows up to my wedding.
Okay. Sige, if you want to answer why, kasi yun yung sagot ko.
Kasi parang, wala, in my head kasi, when you die, that's like their last respects for you eh. So, if no one comes to your wedding, then it means you've never made an impact on anyone. You're forgettable.
Correct.
Diba? Versus like no one shows up to your wedding. Na-imagine ko pa maraming excuses yan eh. Na parang, oh, yung isa had to work, or yung isa
Hmm.
bitter kasi kaka-break lang ng boyfriend, so ayaw pumunta sa kasal. O kaya, COVID, diba? So bawal ang gathering. Parang it's just so sad na you've passed on and they don't even care to show up to your funeral. Parang mas masakit yata yun for me.
Okay. Same din. Ako din. Yun din yung sinagot ko.
Funeral din.
Nung nabasa ko, tapos sabi ko, of course, dun ako
Ay,
sa
sorry,
isa.
wedding
Dead
pala.
man na. Oo. O, sige, eto. I think last question ito. For the last question is, would you rather be an adult whole life or be a kid whole life?
This is a tough one. I would rather be a kid.
Go! Why?
Walang problema eh.
Actually, tama. Parang
Diba?
kakain ka lang, ganun, aral-aral.
Di ko, kasi adulting is hard, diba?
Mm-mm.
Although when I reflect on it, ang daming challenges din as a kid ha. Na kasi um, you're still not super secure with who you are. So you're
Yeah.
very insecure. You're still finding your identity. Um, and, lalo na the puberty stage, all the acne and all the hormonal shit.
Totoo.
Parang,
Mm-mm.
I don't want to go through that again. Pero I think because of the situation that we're in now, na, times are tough, we're worrying about our lives and our livelihood. It's kind of like a good time to be a child again. Na ang poproblemahin ko lang gumawa ng homework.
Oo, tapos ano ka lang, tatanong ka lang na magtatanong ng kahit ano.
although grabe ha, like as a grade conscious child, not doing homework or failing a subject was like life or death back then. But then now, on the grand scheme of things, it's like, it's okay.
Ay, nakakaloka. Anyway, yun lang naman so far. So again, thank you so much, Teacher Jen, for giving time. Alam kong busy ka and then you really have time for this and ano pa ba? So as we always we will be uploading this this on our podcast. And thank you once again, Teacher Jennifer, for joining us in our sixth
Yes.
episode for our Chakra Chatter. Oh my God, sixth episode na.
Diba? Congrats.
And we hope to invite you again soon. Yeah, next year. Because ano naman
Yeah.
to, tuloy-tuloy naman to. So we're gonna have another topic and more of the one. And then next time, perhaps, I'll definitely invite you if madaming teachers. Kasi iba din pag madami.
Yeah. With
Tawa
everyone.
rin tao. Oo,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, thank you so much once again. And as we always end in our class, we put our hands together at the center of our chest and bow each other. Namaste. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
enjoyed the chat. I hope you did too.